Jim Rohn earned the highest honors from the National Speakers Association, reached over 5 million people through his live seminars, and authored more than 25 widely respected books and personal development programs. He became a mentor to mentors, the quiet force behind the success of some of the world's most influential thought leaders, including Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, and Mark Victor Hansen. Raised in poverty on a small farm in Idaho, Rohn went on to become a self-made millionaire and helped redefine what it means to live a life rooted in purpose, discipline, and personal responsibility. With clarity, wit, and timeless wisdom, he inspired millions of people across generations to rethink their habits, challenge their limitations, and build better lives. In this video, we'll explore the core lessons that shaped Jim Rohn's philosophy and why he is still regarded today as America's foremost business philosopher. At 25, Jim Rohn sat in his modest apartment, staring at a stack of unpaid bills. Despite working diligently at Sears, his paycheck barely covered the basics. With no college degree and no clear direction, his future seemed bleak, trapped in a cycle of effort without progress. That's when a friend insisted he attend a seminar by John Earl Schoaf, a successful entrepreneur and vice president of a nutritional supplement company. This encounter marked a profound turning point in Jim Rohn's life. Jim recalls, "One day there was sort of a curious look on Mr. Schoaf's face. He said, 'Jim, just out of curiosity, tell me how come you haven't done well up until now?' Excellent question, I thought. Well, so I won't look too bad, I'll go through my list. I put that on him and he was very patient. He let me go through the whole thing, the government, the weather. I went through this whole thing when I finished. He looked my list over very carefully. He said, 'Mr. Rohn, big problem with your list. You ain't on it. Mr. Rohn, I've got the answer for you if you will listen carefully.' And listen carefully I did that day and for the next 5 years. If somebody's wealthy and happy, you've got to listen." He said, "Jim, I've only known you a short time, but," he said, "it's already my honest opinion that for things to change for you, you've got to change." This was a defining moment in Jim Rohn's life. The first time he truly understood that the direction of his future rested in his own hands. That realization sparked his journey into personal development, a philosophy that would shape his life and echo through many of his most famous quotes, such as, "The major key to your better future is you." When explaining his motivation for success, Jim Rohn often shares the memorable story of the Girl Scout cookies. "Before I met Mr. Schoaf, I heard a knock at the door. I go to the door and there's a little girl standing there selling Girl Scout cookies, and she gave me one of the finest sales presentations I've ever heard. Special deal, several flavors. This whole package for $2, and with a big smile, she very politely asked me to buy, and I wanted to. But big problem, I'm broke. I don't have $2, and to this day, I can remember the pain and the embarrassment. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I've been to college, I'm working, I'm 25. I don't have $2, and I didn't want to tell her that for some reason. So I did what I thought was next best. I lied. I said, 'Hey, look, I've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. I've still got plenty stacked in the house,' which was not true. But it seemed to get me off the hook for the moment. She said, 'Well, gosh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much,' and she went away. When she left, I closed the door, and that was the day I said to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've had it with lying, and I've had it with being broke. I'm never going to let this happen to me ever again." Mr. Schoaf taught him how to harness powerful emotions, like disgust, desire, decision, and resolve, and transform them into fuel for success. He also urged Jim to write down his goals, turning vague ambitions into a clear and actionable vision. He said, "You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. If you don't know where you want to go, you will stay at the same place. If you go to work on your goals will go to work on you. If you go to work on your plan will go to work on you. Whatever good things we build end up building us. Learn to set goals." Jim Rohn believed that planning is the foundation of a successful life, a discipline that turns vague hopes into structured achievement. He often warned, "People who fail to plan are planning to fail," reminding us that drifting through life without direction inevitably leads to disappointment. For Rohn, planning wasn't a rigid exercise. It was a creative act of taking charge of your future. It begins with asking yourself what you truly want, what you're willing to work for, and who you need to become to achieve it. As he put it, asking is the beginning of receiving. Because unless you ask, unless you define your goals, you'll never know when you've arrived. And once you've asked with clarity, receiving is automatic. Not in a magical sense, but because clear goals create focus, urgency, and momentum. Rohn encouraged people to design their lives intentionally, the way an architect designs a building. That means thinking through each area: health, relationships, career, finances, and deciding in advance what kind of results you want. He said, "Don't start the day until you have it finished. Don't start the week until you have it finished. Don't start the year until you have it finished." This is not about perfection, it's about clarity. If you don't design your own plan, you'll fall into someone else's. And as he quipped, guess what they have planned for you? Not much. He believed that plans give your actions direction, and without direction, effort is easily wasted. He advised, make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child. Adults think rationally, set timelines, and weigh trade-offs. Children believe with open-hearted enthusiasm and unshakable trust. Great planning, in his view, requires both. Jim Rohn often emphasized the critical role of discipline in achieving success. As he put it, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. He believed that long-term success is built on small, consistent actions. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, he said, and he warned against self-deception. Affirmation without action is delusion. According to Rohn, discipline has two key components. First, do what you can. Ask yourself, what am I not doing that would be easy to do and could bring massive results? Second, do it the best you can. Whatever you do, give it everything you've got. To illustrate the transformative power of discipline, Rohn shared a story of a man committed to improving his relationship with his daughters. His efforts, rooted in simple but consistent actions, became a powerful example of how discipline can reshape life. My wife and I have two lovely teenage daughters. Parents could not ask for any more beautiful, lovely daughters. I have been the one who have given them most of the troubles. My daughters want to go to the rock concerts, and I have always made them beg for the money, saying, "I don't want you to go. You stay up too late. The music is too loud." Only after they beg long enough, I would agree to let them go. But after attending your seminar, I decided to change. Not long ago, I saw their favorite band was coming to town. Instead of waiting for them to ask, I went out, bought 2 tickets, and put them in an envelope. When they got home, I handed it to them and said, "You won't believe this, but the begging days are over." They were stunned. I told them not to open the envelope until they got there. At the concert, they handed the tickets to the usher, and he led them to the 10th row center. They were speechless. Never before had they sat anywhere close. That night, after midnight, they came rushing home. One jumped into my lap, the other hugged my neck, both saying, "You've got to be one of the world's greatest fathers." Mr. Rohn, it's the same money, but a completely different father. What a difference it's made. This is the kind of transformation anyone can experience, if they focus on what they can do and commit to doing it to the best of their ability. Jim Rohn often compared the circumstances we face in life to the changing seasons. Life is like the seasons. You can't change them, but you can prepare for them. Winter represents the difficult times, periods of hardship, loss, or uncertainty. Winter is inevitable. Everyone experiences their own winters, but instead of complaining, regretting, or hiding, Rohn urges us to learn from them. Don't wish it was easy or wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. Winter is not a time for despair, it's a time for preparation. Prepare for what? For spring, because just as in nature, spring always follows winter. And in life, seasons of opportunity inevitably follow seasons of difficulty. When spring arrives, you must act. Seize the moment. There won't be many chances, so use your time and energy wisely. Then comes summer, a time to protect what you've worked for. Summer symbolizes growth, progress, and prosperity, but it also brings threats, challenges to your values, your discipline, your results. Rohn reminds us, all good will be attacked. Summer is the time to be vigilant. Guard your gains. Don't be lulled into complacency just because things look fine on the surface. Eventually, autumn arrives. This is the season of harvest, a time to reap the rewards of your labor. But it's also a season of reflection. Autumn asks you to take honest stock of your results and accept the consequences of your actions, whether they're good or bad. Take full responsibility, Rohn says. That's one of the highest forms of human maturity. Of course, life isn't always predictable. Rohn acknowledges that sometimes, despite your best efforts, things fall apart. Sometimes life happens and you work hard, but it gets all taken from you. Like a natural disaster, a major crisis can wipe out your progress. But even then, he advises, accept it and move forward. Because when you learn to navigate the seasons with wisdom and resilience, life ultimately will get better. The key to continuously improve your life, as mentioned, is to improve yourself. Growth in any area, career, relationships, finances, always begins with personal development. This means committing to lifelong learning, expanding your mindset, and building your capabilities. As Jim Rohn often said, motivation is only the beginning. If you're going down the wrong road, you don't need motivation, you need education. In other words, enthusiasm without direction is dangerous. What people facing hardship often need is not just more inspiration, but better information. You may not be able to do everything you find out, but you should find out everything you can do. Rohn strongly believed that formal education is only the starting point. It might help you earn a living, but it won't unlock your full potential. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Success belongs to those who take ownership of their growth, reading, reflecting, and seeking out new skills and knowledge beyond the classroom. He encouraged us to learn from books because the book you don't read won't help. Reading is a direct conversation with the smartest minds across history, and one of the simplest, most powerful tools for transformation. But beyond books, Jim Rohn placed great value on learning from personal experience. He often emphasized the power of reflection, urging us to capture our thoughts, ideas, and lessons in a journal. Writing things down, he believed, helps us think more clearly and grow more intentionally. Rohn advised reviewing these notes regularly, daily, monthly, and yearly, to identify patterns, progress, and opportunities for growth. As he put it, imagine if you could take all the experience you've collected over the years and invest it into your next year, your next month, your next day. That's the power of reflection, compounding your life's lessons into forward momentum. To accelerate this process even further, Rohn encouraged us to learn from others, especially mentors. Don't just learn from your own mistakes. It's too expensive. Learn from other people's mistakes. You can learn from someone who has done it. That's the key. Find someone who has already walked the path. Learning from the experience of others compresses time and minimizes costly errors. It turns decades into days and mistakes into wisdom, without the painful price tag. The reason you should commit to lifelong learning is simple: to become more valuable to the marketplace. Jim Rohn often highlighted the difference between activity and impact. While ordinary workers focus on how many hours they put in, Rohn pointed out a deeper truth. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. In other words, time alone doesn't create wealth. Value does. And value comes from growth, knowledge, skill, and character. To illustrate this, Rohn shared his own transformation. From earning a $4 hourly wage to receiving million-dollar offers to help expand someone's business. The difference wasn't luck or timing, it was personal development. He became more valuable and the marketplace responded accordingly. As Rohn explained, probably one of the most frustrating experiences in life is looking for an above-average job with above-average pay without becoming an above-average person. It's called frustration. He credited his mentor, Mr. Schoaf, for revealing a life-changing insight early in his journey. Jim, if you want to be wealthy and happy the rest of your life, just learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This mindset shift is at the heart of Rohn's philosophy. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. That's why he also emphasized the value of time, calling it our most precious asset. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. Days are expensive. When you spend a day, you have one less day to spend, so make sure you spend each one wisely. And what's the wisest investment of your time? Investing it in yourself. Learn, grow, reflect. Take time to gather up the past so that you will be able to draw from your experience and invest them in the future. In essence, your personal growth determines your professional worth. If you want to increase your income, influence, or impact, start by increasing your value. Many people wait until they've accumulated great wealth before they consider giving back. But Jim Rohn encouraged a very different approach. Start sharing early, not just money, but knowledge, values, and goodwill. The first thing Rohn urged us to share is what we know. In his words, share with your children, share with your colleagues, share with everybody that comes within your grasp. Share now. Why? Because sharing doesn't just help others, it transforms you. It makes you bigger than you are, Rohn explained. He illustrated this with a simple analogy. If I had a glass of water up here and it was full, can that glass hold any more water? The answer is yes. But for it to hold more, you've got to pour out what's already in. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you're full of ideas, full of good things, pour it out, pour it out, pour it out. Why? Because more will be poured in, poured in, poured in. Humans, unlike a glass, can expand their capacity. Rohn believed that by giving away what you know, you increase your ability to receive even more. He also emphasized the importance of sharing wealth, even in small amounts. That includes perhaps surprisingly being happy to pay taxes. Here's what I used to say. I hate to pay my taxes. Mr. Schoaf said, well, that's one way to live. I thought, doesn't everybody hate to pay taxes? He said, no. A few of us have gotten way past that. Schoaf explained it this way. In our society, taxes are how you care for and feed the goose that lays the golden eggs. Democracy, liberty, freedom, free enterprise. Wouldn't you want to feed the goose that lays the golden eggs? Rohn acknowledged, somebody says, well, the goose eats too much. That's probably true. But better a fat goose than no goose. Rohn also drew wisdom from timeless spiritual lessons. He often referenced the story of the widow's offering in the Bible. Jesus and his disciples were watching people give at the temple. Some gave large amounts, others gave modestly. Then a poor woman came and gave just 2 pennies. The disciples said, 2 pennies? What's that? But Jesus said, she gave more than all the rest because her 2 pennies represented most of what she had. And the key lesson, it's not the amount, it's what it represents of your life that counts. That's why Rohn encouraged people to start building the habit of generosity early. Start with $1. It's easy to give 10 cents. But if you wait until you have $1 million, it will be much harder to give away 100,000. True giving, he believed, not only circulates good into the world, it transforms the giver. It shapes your character, expands your capacity, and keeps wealth in motion. When you give with the right spirit, you don't just benefit others. You become the kind of person abundance is drawn to. Jim Rohn often states, "Success is not something you pursue. What you pursue eludes you. Success is something you attract by the person you become." True success, he teaches, is not about chasing outcomes. It's about becoming the kind of person to whom success naturally gravitates. Likewise, failure doesn't happen in an instant. It's not the result of one unlucky day or one wrong decision. Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't fail overnight. Instead, failure is a few errors in judgment, repeated every day. What separates those who rise from those who fall is not talent or luck. It's habits. Your daily disciplines shape your destiny. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day. Success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. This means the path to success is within your control. It requires full ownership of both your victories and your failures. No excuses, no blame. Examine the details. Identify the small, repeated behaviors that aren't serving you and change them. Because in the end, action matters. Not just visualization, not just setting goals or making plans. Results only come from doing, consistently, deliberately, and with purpose. To conclude his timeless lessons, Jim Rohn often shared the 10 areas he focused on improving every single day. Pillars that formed the foundation of his personal growth and lasting success. Attitude. How you respond to challenges defines your outlook. Problems are inevitable. Growth is optional. A positive attitude is the lens through which opportunity becomes visible. Communication skills. Success in life is deeply tied to relationships. Listening, understanding, and expressing yourself with clarity and empathy are essential for influence and connection. Self-discipline, the cornerstone of all achievement. Discipline is what bridges goals and accomplishment. It's about creating empowering habits and sticking to them. Expanding your beliefs. Many limitations are self-imposed. You must challenge and stretch your thinking. As Rohn said, don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. Time management. Mastering your time means mastering your life. Focus on the right things at the right time in the right way. Plan for productivity, but also for rest. Knowledge and learning. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. The more you learn, the more equipped you are to earn, grow, and contribute. Financial literacy. It's not just about how much you earn, but how well you manage it. Spend less than you earn and invest the rest. Wealth begins with simple, disciplined decisions. Personal development. You don't attract success, you attract what you become. Set specific goals, release limiting habits, and commit to becoming a better version of yourself. Purpose. A clear sense of purpose gives direction to your efforts and meaning to your journey. Without it, achievement feels hollow. Gratitude and relationships. Be thankful for what you have, and you'll attract more to be thankful for. At the same time, nurture your relationships. Appreciation and genuine connection are the true wealth of life. As Jim Rohn wisely said, life is a journey, not a destination, and it's made up of the small steps you take every day. Each day is an opportunity to improve. Each choice a vote for the person you're becoming. Either you run the day or the day runs you. Jim Rohn lived by these principles, from humble beginnings in rural Idaho to financial success, and ultimately dedicating the second half of his life to mentoring millions. His final message is clear. Success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become.